All right. I think I only got one more video to do. Oh God, it's gonna be a long one too, because it's the walls, isn't it? It took me forever. Foam roller, cutting them, painting them. Oh dear God, painting all the screws, putting the screws in. Oh Jesus, that's gonna be a lot of fast forwarding. That's still gonna be probably what, a 30-40 minute video. I'm gonna have to break that up into 3 parts. Jesus Christ. That's empty. Oh God, am I an addict? All right, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Not a problem. Okay, I don't have footage of me using the foam roller. Well, because using the foam roller, yeah, that makes sense. I don't have footage of me cutting them. Well, yeah, that makes sense because I cut a bunch of them wrong and then I kit bashed them together and then I used the foam cutter. So yeah, that makes sense. Don't have footage of me painting any of these things. It's kind of a pain in the ass to paint them with a camera in front of your face. I guess that makes sense. I don't have footage of the lights? What the hell, man? I got no footage at all. Son of a... Okay, so I've been making progress, but I have not been recording anything. And I feel like I should record something, at least for posterity, because I'm making progress on stuff and I'm making a gigantic mess as well. Okay, so here we go. First and foremost, as you can see, there's another piece of board down here that I've been messing with, and it's all cut up. We got hallway pieces. We got them in different sizes. We've got the main rooms. I've got those cut in quadrants. And that's under all that over there. This is a lot of scrap right now. I've got my double hallway blocks, which are unfinished. I've got 2 of those. And I'm planning on putting toothpicks in there so it looks like a sewer grate. I've got single walls that I've made. And I'm trying to pattern these all the way around. And this one is a test piece. As you can see, there's a slot up there for the battery. And then I'll have a couple torches coming out on this one. I've tested this out. It looks pretty good. But that's what I'm working on. These are walls. What's different with these is these are the walls that I have not had to kit bash. I just cut these just an hour ago. And I bought a hot wire cutter to do it. And that's been my main tool of late, is using that to cut this 1/2-inch foam down to the size that I want. And I've had to trim this 1/2 inch down to this, just a little over 3/8 of an inch. That was what my walls have been set to. My walls are taking up a 1/2-inch space, but I got them all about a 3/8 thickness. And that kind of works because that gives me a little bit more play. So that's what this stack and this stack is for. These are all 1x1 walls, and some of them are kit bashed together, as you can tell. And waste not, want not. And I'm trying to use everything I have without having to go out and buy new. So I've got 1 quadrant, 2 quadrants, 3 quadrant, 4 quadrant. So I got all this cut. That's going to be Keller's Keep, 2nd floor, or personal adventures where I have multiple floors to them. This are stairs. This is a 5-block stair. And how it works is you have your adventurer. He's on 1 stair. So this is square 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And he's up on his 2nd floor. 3 block squares. And again, 1 square, 2 square, 3 square. Well, 1, 2, 3. And then you're up on your 2nd floor. These are the same height, basically just to make my life easier. It's just you have a long stair and you have a steep stair. Because to do it any other way means that I'm going to have to make different height supports when it comes to making a 2nd floor. And that's going to be a pain in the butt. That's what I'm working on. And as you can see, I've got edging pieces that I'm finishing off. I should have all my walls and all my edging pieces now. See, I've got some 1x1 blocks. Got my stairs. And as you can see, I've got some edging on the outside. And if we come down here with our adventurer, there they are. It's basically how it's going to look. And again, these are 2-inch walls. This is about 3/4 of an inch, 2-inch. And I've even gotten a couple of scrap pieces for falling rocks that block your path. So currently, that's where I'm at. All right, right now I'm working on my edging pieces. And I've got a few samples here to show you what it is that I'm doing. Basically, I went and cut about 3/8 thickness, about the same thickness as my walls. And these are about 3/4 of an inch tall. And then I cut in just 45-degree angles. And then I'm just taking them here, holding them about another 45 if I can do it, doing it all by hand. To get an edge. And then do it to the other side.
spikes, separate piece. Voila, spikes. And as you can see, I'm not getting as far down as I want, but it's sandpaper, so you can just kind of come back and give it a few pulls. And now I'm getting my angle down a little lower. And if some of your spikes are round at the top and some of them are pointy, that's fine. Some of these probably have wear and tear on them. If you have some extra skeletons or whatnot, you can decorate those in there later. So there you go. I've made a bunch of edging. Now to clean it up. All right, once you got everything cleaned up and you've retrieved the pieces that your vacuum may have sucked up, now we screw. So I set mine up so that the trim, so that all my squares are 1.5 inch wide. And I set up so that my trim has a magnet centered. So I line up, I make a mark at the halfway point, which should be, for me, 3/4 of an inch in. And I'm just using this nail to kind of give me an eyeball center. And a starting hole. I grab my screw. And I could probably do it the whole way using my fingers, but man's just a monkey who's a bully that uses tools. Voila, one done. Let's do a bunch more. Prepare to fast forward. I'm done. All your pieces should have a screw in it. And so now I just need to get these painted, but that will magnetically onto the edge of my board. Let's take a trip, shall we? And here we are. So, now, all my screws, they just snap into place. And so now I have edging all the way around. Plus, I've got 2 extra pieces, just in case I need them. And the reason why I did it this way is Keller's Keep, Drink Witchlord, Frozen Horror, other expansions. You usually have a door that starts on the edge and ends on another edge after you've gone through the maze. Plus, when you put it in conjunction with a wall, your figurines are able to move around. You're not encumbered on the sides. It all works. Since I didn't do any footage of me actually painting the walls or doing any other stuff to it, I'm at least going to show you the final product up close on a nice even surface. First off, as I've said in a lot of things and I showcased in one video, I purchased a foam roller off of Etsy. This is just a 3D printed thing. It presses into the foam pretty good. And I did have to end up going over all the lines with a ballpoint pen. Or at least I felt that I needed to go over everything with a ballpoint pen. Maybe not, but it gave me a bit deeper grooves. So wall pieces, when they were done and painted, all end up looking like this. This is my 4 square tile. So it is 6 inches wide. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4. As you can see, there's a little embellishment here, and you can see the top of the torch back there. On the other side, I have painted little teeny tiny windows. Why are there little teeny tiny windows? Are we in a dungeon? Shh. Just have fun with it. What I used to paint this, as I angle that to be in the light, you know what, I'm gonna angle it this way to be in that light. I just went and bought cheap paints at Walmart. So, the majority of it is this elephant gray. I put on a 50-50 Mod Podge black mix onto all the pieces first and foremost, after they were detailed. And then elephant gray went on. I then went and put in with the pewter gray. The pewter gray didn't show up as well because it's a little bit of a warmer color, and maybe you can see it better here on camera. But I went and did some dots with pewter gray, and then I went in and did some dots with pavement. Pavement is the ones that you definitely can see. Those are the darker ones. But the pewter, that's a pewter right there, are just, they're a little too faint. So maybe I should have gone to a different tone with that. But just randomly picking things out and doing them in those colors, it just gives it a little bit of extra something. After all that was done, I went and just put a wash. This is just black acrylic ink, dish soap, and water. I think that's all that's in this. I got this idea from Black Magic Craft. He has a video on how to do this, which is a pretty good video to watch that. As far as the other pieces, so we've got this nice big guy. I'll give you another sample here of a T section. Again, this is just a 2 square tile, painted in the same manner, using the same paints. Same thing on the inside. The wood colors here, those I did with another apple barrel for burnt umber. So I did that on all my wood pieces to give them a brown color. And then I went and did a dry brush of nutmeg on top of it to make it a little bit lighter. And I did go back and do another dry brush with these as well with a little bit lighter color. It was the elephant gray, or I don't think there was a white that I did, but that's potentially I might have done a lighter gray color as well. I just don't remember at the moment. And the same thing here. These are corner pieces. So here is a corner piece that has a wood pattern for one of the walls. Again, the reason why I decided to do this and not just make it more stone on the other side is to break up the monotony of the walls. Gives it a little bit of extra something. This piece, as you can see, I went with a brick pattern. So I've got the small little brick walls that are scattered throughout. Most of the corner pieces, I have this brick pattern on there. And again, that's just painted with apple barrel colors, with cardinal red, and more elephant gray. And there you go. And then, of course, I got the wood on the inside there. Again, another wall. This is one of the smaller T-section filler pieces. Same thing, just same colors on here. As you can tell, there's the pewter gray. That's the pavement, and the rest of this is all elephant. Burnt umber and nutmeg. For my crosses, for the crosses centers, this is the pattern I went with for all the ones that are in the cross thing. That way I can distinctly, at a glance, know which one is supposed to go where. If it's small and it's got a piece of wood on it, that's a T. If it's this light gray, elephant, and brown, that's going on the T sections. And again, the color variance is mostly just to break up the monotony of the dungeon. It's just a lighter color. It's just something different. So these are my 1.25 inch. And then going forward, I made a lot of pieces that had torches on them. Because if you're in a dungeon, it's nice to have torches. I've got tons of these, and a video that I should be playing here in the corner of all the torches lit up. Not all the walls are in there, but all the torches are lit up. These are done by a tip from a Tabletop Witchcraft YouTube channel. Go check out their video. And these are basically just LEDs with a swirly of hot glue on them to make it look like a torch that's burning. And the leads are back here in the back, as you can see. And we just take a watch battery and slide it in there. And I made these little holders on here to kind of keep everything in position and to keep kind of things, just to hide it just a little bit. And so I decided to decorate a lot of them. Most of them I did Dread or Chaos banner with the skull. And then I did a few of them here that have kind of a cabinet. Your adventurer is searching in a room. Well, maybe they found something in this little cupboard. Or maybe they found it behind the banner of the Emperor's lion's head. And it is a lion's head. It's not a small man with a giant head that's dancing. Same thing with the double tile blocks. There's a spot up here for a torch to go in. And as you can see, I've painted in, or I've added in stakes in there, as well as mysterious eyes in the darkness. Did those in glow-in-the-dark paint with different colors, but There's such a small little pinpoint, you don't see them. Much like anything else that I did glow-in-the-dark paint with, you're never going to see it. And I also did a lot of the blocks that are changing the dimensions of the hallways, and have a spot with them to have torches as well. And one battery in there will light both torches. It is kind of something that you have to finagle with, and in a better world, I probably would have arranged a different system for that to make it so that they worked a little bit easier together. But for the most part, this works fine. And then the rubble pieces I've also painted as well. Again, these are all just cast off junk scrap pieces that I had from cutting down all the other pieces of foam and doing other things. And I just made a simple base that was kind of at least the 1.5 inches in one direction, not necessarily the other direction. And then just piled everything up until it was around 2 inches tall. So it thoroughly blocks. And I also wanted to make sure that it blocked in a way that some snotty little kid can't say, well, I can just squeeze past right through here. No, you can't. This whole thing fell down. There's no way you can get through it. The railings, again, I painted in the same manner with the elephant gray. I didn't go as crazy with the dots on these because these are on the outside edge. They're just more decorative than anything else. But I did, after I sanded all this stuff, I painted all this here a metallic paint. And that metallic paint, it just gives that little bit of a shine. And then the bits of blood and things like that, again, to indicate that somebody has bumped up into it. The blood was this apple barrel crimson here, or cardinal. And the greens and pinks that I have kind of on these were this apple barrel pink parfait, limeade, in case you're thirsty. Most of these apple barrel colors came in, it was a 10-pack. So it was dirt cheap, and they're going to last a long time because I don't think I'm going to be using a lot of pink. Also have a 2-wall that has a torch system on it as well. And much like these others, you take the battery, just inserts into the top here where the LEDs are. And again, I made little teeny tiny blocks for it to kind of sit in and to also hide it just a little bit. And the positioning of these are pretty centered. And that is so if you happen to put this in the center section of your cross, when that hits center, it's not going to touch. These batteries I just bought off of Amazon. They were dirt cheap. Again, if you go watch Tabletop Witchcraft's video on how to make torch pillars, he's got a link to all those things on there, and you're going to find them. I did have a good chunk of these die on me. I don't know if it's because they were just in a cold room during the winter, but something to note. But again, they're dirt cheap as opposed to like your Energizer and your name brand ones. On top of that, I did also make some custom based tiles. I was toying around with the thought of secret door tiles. As you can see, it is the same as a single tile, but I took some scrap pieces, cut them, turned them sideways, added in little supports to make it look like you had found a secret door. I like the idea, but it's going to be too much work, especially when you consider that a single secret door and matching every single tile also means that I would have to make a secret door that's in a 1-inch scale and a secret door that is in the 1.25-inch scale. And the smarter thing to do is not make secret doors, but instead take your tile and set it down and just turn it, because all these tiles have at least 2 screws in the bottom of them, And so that can act as a pivot point that you can just kick it out, and now you have your secret door revealed. But I did make some other custom pieces, such as this 3-inch piece here. I went and dug out a very shallow pit on both sides, and I had bought some skeletons. These are Reaper Bones skeletons. Because they're this soft material, I was able to kind of, and then bend them and glue them into a different position, so it looks like we got some guys in some catacombs. I also went and took another one and a small little chain here and glued him onto the wall, so he's a dead skeleton on the wall. The chain is, I just got cheap craft chain at Hobby Lobby. And then I put a little glue on those as well, so they're gonna stay in position unless somebody comes and really smashes their thumb on there. And the figurines are just painted with speed paint, Army Painter speed paint. And for everybody who loves using pass-through rock, remember, something bad can happen. These are just two little thin scrap pieces that I had, and I just kind of pressed him into the back, found out where he was, poked the hole, shoved him through, had him going through both ends, glued this piece together after I had him painted, and let that be a reminder. Lastly, once I got everything done, I came in and I did some flocking. I was going to do flocking on a lot of pieces to fill in some of the gaps on the side, because a lot of these would leave a gap almost like that next to each other. And I thought if I did flocking in there, it would fill in that gap pretty well, but that's a lot of work, and it was difficult to determine which ones would and wouldn't need it, because while I did my best to kind of keep things even and lined up, not every spot is in the same section. So there's a lot of give and play in a lot of those magnet positions, as well as where the screws went in. They're all within, I think, a good tolerance, but there are times where the walls butt up really tight, and there's times where they have a good gap in between them. And it's, while I did take the stack and I put them together to find out, which ones were what size, a lot of them were all pretty much the same size. So it really just kind of came down to where things were positioned. But I took some flocking and some tacky glue and put it on a bunch of these pieces to give them just a little bit of extra flair and flavor. This in here is plastic from a hanger for socks. 3 little chunks like that out, and I put them in 3 different things, so I got nice little sewer tiles. And the flocking that I used is just, this isn't what it comes in, I just have it what it's stored in. It's just this blended turf. It's fine green. I got this at a local Train in Hobby Town, USA store. It's just little soft powdery grass. And the vine stuff here, when I had ordered some Army Painter stuff or green stuff, I think it was, I'm not 100% sure what it was, I got some of this summer undergrowth stuff for free. Don't know why I got it, but I got it. So that's what this vine stuff is here. And so I put that on a few pieces, so that adds in a little bit of green in and around the dungeon, which makes it look really nice until we start playing the Frozen Horror. In which case I may end up making new tiles for a room and or 2 that are a little bit more icy. And I may end up doing that with a few of the different expansions, and then have just some extra walls that are just kind of scattered throughout. So I hope that's a good enough rundown of kind of what I did, even though I didn't record me doing it. Hopefully this gives you some inspiration, or at least a direction to follow and focus on. Good luck with your painting from here on out. So let's just cut to the montage of all the lights being on and the figures in the dungeon. Anybody know a royalty-free version of the Game of Thrones theme?